It's lights out, everybody, and welcome back to the Low Downforce podcast, the forefront Formula One podcast. And don't look now, you are not seeing double. All four of us are back. J9, welcome back to the pod. Matt, we just got you back. Josh, and you have myself, Ben. Everybody's here. Oh, it is so good to have the gang all back together. We had a quick little mini break following Monza, even though, depending on who you ask, Azerbaijan might technically be in Europe. But the European summer is officially over. We are into the final third exactly. We've got 8 races to go. It's all coming down to the wire. I know we've had some on-track, some off-track drama between the McLarens, but don't get me wrong. The championship is still alive. We are getting close to wrapping up the Constructors Championship. Of course, Matt and I are happy about McLaren in that. But You hear my voice all the time. J9, how we doing? Welcome back. World Traveler over here.
Woo-hoo. I'm so excited to be back and to get back into F1 after kind of being abroad for a little bit. I'm so excited for this upcoming race. I know that I was following close last race, and I was really happy with Max Verstappen. And so I'm really excited to see this last third of the year and how he really improves from there.
Helmut Marko even recently, he recently said, Helmut Marko, that he said, everything's fair game. Red Bull is coming in with a new bit of confidence, especially in a place like Baku, another unique track. We're back on the streets, so a street race, but without further ado, it is time for the Formula One Qatar Airways Azerbaijan Grand Prix, previously known as the European Grand Prix, in the streets of Baku, the capital city. But I don't need to tell you about it. Of course, it is time for Matt's Track Facts, and Matt is here, so he's going to take it away for us.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, as you mentioned, this started as the European Grand Prix in 2016, a name that we've often attributed to other areas of the world, such as the Nürburgring or a few different tracks in Spain. But it did start again in 2017, finally with the new name Azerbaijan Grand Prix. One lap here is going to run you about 6.003 kilometers. So let's just call that 6. 51 laps for a total of 306.049 kilometers. It's a really, really cool track. One of my favorites, to be honest, on the whole calendar. And I'll tell you a bit more about the mix of the driving styles there. But first, there are 2 DRS zones, one on the long pit straight into turn 1, and the other one running down the backstretch into turn 3. There are a total of 20 turns of the circuit. I don't know if it's the most accurate description, but it's kind of like Monza and Monaco had a baby in the Caucasus Mountain region. It's really cool. I think the lap is going to start out with a flat out blast down the main straight into heavy braking zone at turn 1. From there, you'll have the track winding through technical 90-degree corners before climbing into the narrow, about 7-meter wide castle section in the Old City, where drivers are going to file into line around technical turns similar to Monaco. And I believe, Josh, do you remember which turn it was? Or Charles had his iconic moment.
That's what I was going to talk about. Charles has maybe my favorite radio of all time. I don't know what turn number it is, but there's like a left back up the hill in part of the castle section.
I want to say it's around like turn 9, if I remember correctly.
And he just drives straight into the corner of the wall and says, "I am stupid" on the headset.
Which you would think would be like hands down, like his best radio, but we've had so many great radios, even just
Ferrari
this
has
season.
Great radio messages.
Matt, you hit it spot on. I'll let you keep going in a minute. Yeah. I don't know why, but this is my favorite track. It's something about like the way you say castle section. That's not like a fun little F1 nickname. It is literally going around the castle walls of the old city.
And you went to Montreal? Why didn't you go to Azerbaijan?
Because of flight prices.
Some distance.
I don't even know.
It's also far away.
I don't even know how to fly there. I'm gonna be honest.
Maybe that's the podcast trip. Maybe we'll all go.
That would be trip sick. We go on.
That would be sick. Let's go to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Let's do it.
I'd love to.
I'm down.
I'd love to. I think it's actually one of the more affordable races if you can get yourself there. But in terms of where you would be going there, that final sector is actually along the Caspian Sea. From what I've seen, is beautiful. And that's an almost entirely full throttle area of the track. I think reminiscent of Monza. It's, I think, like 2.2 kilometers from turn 17 to turn 1. So, like, there's a couple, like, small turns in there, but it's just a really long, really just high-speed stretch where you'll see some slipstream battles heading into turn one. You might even see 3 cars driving together on this track, depending on like how well the board is stacked for all these drivers. And a lot of people compare that to the excitement of IndyCar. So having 3 cars side by side makes for some memorable moments. And the teams are also going to have to choose between downforce and high speed again because of those mix of those technical turns as well as the long straights. So I think McLaren's going to do well at this track, but hey, we'll see. The neutralization risk is pretty high at Baku. I think it's 88% of all the races here so far have held a safety car or VSC, with at least half of those having a full safety car. Sergio Perez has won the most of any driver here with 2 wins, which is half of the 4 Red Bull race wins at the circuit, which is the most for any constructor. And last but not least, the race lap record is 143.009 set by Charles Leclerc in 2019.
I don't know if the lap record during the race is going to be broken, but look for another qualifying track record to be broken, because we are coming in with the fastest tires available, the C4, the C5, and the C6, the softest, the fastest tire there is. But we also know from Imola earlier this year that the C5 and C6 get really interesting during qualifying, how well they hold up. So expect qualifying to pose some challenges. Expect some teams to potentially be on what's effectively the medium as opposed to the soft during qualifying. We saw what Aston Martin did and qualified really well all the way back in Imola back in May. So definitely a lot to pay attention for. A lot of certain like talking points year in, year out. I think the one other thing I want to hit on, Matt, because I said it was my favorite track, is there's a part of the track where, because it's following roads, the track basically passes each other between one of the last turns and I think between turn 5 and turn 6. But you get some really cool aerial shots where you can see cars going in both directions once the grid is kind of spread out and things like that. Definitely makes for some fun watching. Speaking of fun watching, at least as a McLaren fan, obviously we lucked out with Oscar Piastri's win last year, but J9 is going to crack in to all that happened last year in Baku.
Yeah, last year was pretty notable a race. Like that was, I thought it was really important for a couple reasons. First, McLaren, great race, but also you were a little torn at first because Piastri was not at pole. Leclerc was at pole, but he was still second, and he was up front. But Norris was way in the back. He started 15th, so McLaren was a little, you're cheering for him, but you're hoping Norris gets some points. Once the race started, Leclerc was overtaken by Piastri around lap 20, and he was making pretty good speed there. Norris, by the end of the race, made a huge comeback. He had started 15th again, and he climbed all the way to 4th, which is pretty big. He passed Max Verstappen, which was significant because by the end of the race, Perez and Carlos Sainz had crashed, and so that ended the race with a virtual safety car. It wasn't that exciting of an end of the race. Like, obviously, Piastri fans were very happy and excited, and Leclerc got second. George Russell got third, so those people were happy. However, the championship implication was huge in this race because this was the turning point with McLaren moving into first place in the Constructors Championship, which was huge. So Norris overtaking Verstappen was obviously big for the race, but very big in terms of the overall Constructors Championship. So that was pretty big. Obviously, Verstappen remained ahead in the Drivers' Championship, but this was pretty big. I think this race last year was really setting the tone for this year and how the races would actually go, with McLaren really being dominant in the race in the season so far. So I thought that this was a pretty pivotal race, and obviously it's fun to watch. So I am really excited for fast tires. I mean, huge crash last year, so maybe there will be another crash this year, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited.
I mean, we'll see. You hinted at it there a little bit in saying Charles Leclerc on pole. Charles Leclerc has had pole all 4 years the past 4
That's
years.
true.
So he is on a hot streak here, but has never been able to convert it into the win. We know he broke the Monaco curse last year. Can he break the Baku curse? Of course, we'll
No.
get into the predictions in just a moment. But I can't remember. Maybe you guys can correct me if it was last year or the year before. But one of the Alpines did not pit until the final lap. And there was some confusion in the pit lane where they had already let the photographers head out to get their photos.
That's
and there
right.
was nearly a car v human collision, which we typically know who wins that battle. Of course, nobody was hurt. Photographer did get out of the way, but there were certainly implications there. We can go all the way back, as Matt said, to the beginning races where Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen, then teammates, crashed into each other. It's not always necessarily the most exciting on-track race, but there's some of the highest of highs in terms of drama, in terms of championship implications. So we will have to see if this year lives up to the hype. And speaking of drama, we've got a 1 point gap in our very own Predictors Championship. Josh is the one with the standings thus far, with only a third of the season, the home stretch, if you will, to go.
Yeah, early on, I was out to a big lead. I thought I was just going to cruise to the finish line. But
Huge.
while I am still in first with 31 points this season, Matt has roared back right behind me with 30. J9 not too far behind that with 24, and Ben lagging a little bit behind with only 19. But you still got a handful of races. But I mean, we got a race to predict.
That we certainly do. It is no sprint race, but we just came from a week off of Formula One, so we know everybody is ready to get back into it. We certainly are. And as we always start off with our predictions, we start with our only Saturday prediction this week. That is, of course, with pole position. I mentioned Charles Leclerc's streak, but Josh, did you trust in your boy, or did you go with somebody else?
I'm going to go for Charles. He grew up in Monaco. He knows how to drive on tight corners, except for when he crashes into a castle.
Except for that.
Yeah, casually. But like you said, he's had 4 straight poles here. He just seems to know how to drive here on Saturdays. So we're gonna trust in Ferrari and see if he can get it done.
I'm the same. I think he's got it for pole.
Yeah, it's tempting. 5 times in a row would be really big for him if he can actually not bottle the pole position. But I'm not talking about the race just yet. I think Oscar is going to nail another streak circuit masterclass, so I have him going pole.
I got to go Oscar Piastri as well. Of course, it's the 2 McLarens picking that, but we saw the incredible move. You know there's good memories for Oscar, especially because this was his second win in Formula One. And of course, we've talked about all the drama that happened at Hungary with the team orders and stuff like that. So this really felt like, okay, Oscar got a win fully on his own merit. And it was a year ago today, as of the day recording this. So I know there's good vibes on the Oscar Piastri side of the garage. So I expect him to do well. Of course, he's riding the championship momentum as well. But can he or Charles convert it to the win? As we mentioned, Charles has had a little bit of a curse, but before we get to the top step, we must start with the bottom step of the podium. Still a podium, though. That is, of course, P3. And I have gone Charles Leclerc. I didn't predict him on pole, so I don't think it's going to be as catastrophic as bottling the lead, but you know he goes well around here. Even if he doesn't win the race, he always finishes near the top. So I've got him with another podium for Ferrari.
I have also gone Charles Leclerc. I have him losing the podium. I think the car is just not fast enough, and like he'll do great on Saturdays, but he's not going to end up in P3 because of something that's his fault. He's going to have a good race, but I think that's realistically the best he'll be able to do.
Interesting. I have him falling out of the podium altogether. I think he's going to get out like 4th at most.
That's the J9 we know and love. The carnage is back.
Yeah, no. I'm actually going with Verstappen at 3rd. I think he had such a great race last race, and I think you'll see me vote for McLaren 1-2. I think that they obviously have it this year, but Max is still going to get on the podium.
Gotcha. I was tempted to go Max, but there's something about Charles and his pole positions here. I think he's gotta walk away with the podium. I was like struggling to leave him off. So, but you make some good points, J9.
But J9, you've hinted at a McLaren 1-2. But who is the 2? Who's the 1? Let's start with the 2. Who did you go with?
Yeah, I'm going Norris. I think Piastri has it this year. Norris, I'm not his biggest fan, and I'm always going to choose Piastri over him. So, Piastri at first.
This is the first time I'm not predicting a McLaren 1-2 since Austria. So I'm going way back, but
Wow.
I'm predicting Verstappen P2. Obviously coming off the great race last 2 weeks ago, I guess. And I feel like he's just kind of at one with the car right now. That can all change because it's kind of a track-to-track sport, but Verstappen is so good.
I went Lando Norris. I'm a Lando Norris fan. I don't see him on the top step, but I think the thing that gets a little missed, obviously he had the great drive last year. P15 to P4 also does a nice job holding up Checo Perez during that race so that Oscar can retain that lead. But he's out early in qualifying because Esteban Ocon, I believe, brings out a yellow flag as Lando's finishing his lap. Lando gives him a nice middle finger as he passes him as he's finishing the quali lap last year. So as we know, Lando had the pace around here. Obviously, qualifying didn't pan out. I do think qualifying is going to be chaotic because of the tire situation, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Lando will have a better showing. Maybe not the best showing, but at least enough for P2.
Yep, and I also think that Lando is going to just – I think they've got the car for it. He's got the performance here. And, yeah, I think he can – obviously, like – Max had a really strong showing last session, but I do think this is going to be another McLaren 1-2. I think that the car is going to go a long way and the drivers are going to go even further. But I think he's just shy of the win.
Well, Matt's hinted at the McLaren 1-2, which means he's gone Piastri in first. J9 has hinted at the 1-2, which means Piastri in first. I had not hinted at it, but I am now telling about it. I have gone Oscar Piastri in P1. Josh, are you a sheeple? Or
I've also gone for Oscar Piastri to win.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Lando on my podium. I think he is finally about to hit the point. He's kind of struggled the past 2 races. Not entirely his fault, but I think he's hitting the point where he's not going to win the Drivers' Championship, and I think he's kind of drop off for the next few races before he makes a strong push at the very end.
I can understand that. I originally, when I first typed out my predictions, had exactly what you had, Josh, where I did have Max Verstappen in P2, Lando not on, but it's hard to pick against McLaren.
Me, right? If you're predicting, if you agreed with my predictions originally,
so maybe we'll see if you made the smart choice or if I double guessed myself.
Josh, he's just trying to get a couple extra points. So he's just
agreeing
with you.
Drivers for P2. If one of them hits, I'll take it. But
exactly.
Of course, that's not how it works. But just as important to some drivers, or very tragic to other drivers, of course, is the last points paying position. That is P10, the final point prediction, which we do here, of course. I'll kick it off. It's not a name I've said in a minute. I've shouted out his teammate a couple times, but I'm going Nico Hülkenberg. I think he's been the unluckier of the 2 Kicksauber, which is not to take away from Gabriel Bortoleto. I think Bortoleto is having a phenomenal season. But Nico has always been just on the edge of the points. Sometimes he needs a little luck going his way. I think, as is case with all street circuits, the walls are close. You have to be precise. You have to lean on experience, and Nico has that in droves, so I'm going with Nico to get back on the score sheet.
I'm going to go Isaac Hadjar. I think the RB car has been really good recently. He obviously just got his first podium, so that's awesome for him. And I guess 10th might be a disappointment for him. And given what my hot take is going to be, it probably they both can't come true unless Liam Lawson goes crazy. So, we'll see what happens. But I think Isaac Hadjar is a good bet for that 10 spot.
Nice.
Interesting.
Nice. I've gone for Yuki. I don't even know if I have a factual basis for that, but I think he keeps it clean and bags the final point. I do think there's been such a discrepancy between Max and anyone he's driving with, but especially like just this year's been tough. And I'd like to see Yuki finishing the points, but I'm not sure how much he can actually pull out of that bag.
Yeah. And I'm going Sainz. I think that obviously last year was depressing for him, but I'm going him for 10. I think he can at least get 1 point in his little Williams. I feel so bad for him this year. He's such a good driver, and I think that he's just like his skill is wasting away. in a Williams car.
I'm reserving judgment on how much his skill is wasting away till next year. If Williams does right the ship, I think we have time will tell, especially with Lewis Hamilton as well. I know Matt, Josh, we talked about this the last episode, is if the new regulations levels the playing field, everybody learning the new car kind of resets the level of experience within each team, then in some ways this move just a year before and accepting it as a wash year could be brilliant. It could mean that Lewis and Carlos and similar position drivers actually get over some of the growing pains before the regulations hit, and then if there's a chance to capitalize, they can when everybody's starting fresh. So I'm reserving judgment, but it would be nice to see Carlos Sainz back on the podium. But what would be even better would be to see my spicy hot take payout, because it is 3 times the points, 3 times the chaos, and I desperately need points in the World Predictors Championship. I think all of the constructors have more points than I do, which is not great. I know they're competing for a couple more points, but I am not performing well. But J9, this is your prediction category, of course.
It is.
Spicy. It's so great having you back, so it's only fitting. I know I always go to you, but especially now. Take it away. Kick it all off for us.
Man, coming off of Sainz and Perez last year, I really want to go with some crashes for some reason. I'm just feeling it this year. I do think that there are going to be at least 2 safety cars coming out, whether they're virtual or physical one. I'm stating that for a fact here. So at least 2, and I'm predicting at least 4 DNFs. And a DNF or a does not start. It could be either, but 4 people do not finish the race.
That's crazy.
Or start, but finish.
Jeez. Well,
yeah, that's hot.
Mine would certainly potentially benefit from yours as well. I've hedged my bets a little bit because I'm trying to keep my options open. I know I said Charles Leclerc P3, but my spicy hot take, it's not just that Charles Leclerc does not get pole this year, even though that would be against the trend of the last 4 years. I have Charles Leclerc not getting pole and DNFing or DNSing from the race. So I think
I don't know if that's spicy enough.
The curse is going full shambles.
That seems like kind of like medium spice level to me, but
no.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc's the best driver on the grid. Don't disrespect him like that.
We shall see.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Josh, while you're getting angry over at me,
scoreboard.
Who did you go with, or what did you go with for your spicy hot take?
So I said Hadjar and P10 would make this difficult. I'm saying that RB is going to outscore one of the top 4 teams. So either McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes. And I think it's possible. There probably has to be some craziness going on. But if Hadjar only gets 1 point, Lawson has to go crazy. So maybe Hadjar won't get the 10th point. But yeah, I think the 2 of them will combine. I will need likely a driver from one of those top 4 teams to just have an abysmal race.
Little Ferrari double DNF.
It could be Charles Leclerc.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We've already done that this year.
It could be.
So yeah, I think RB is kind of coming on strong here. They've had a few good races recently, and I think they're gonna put themselves above the midfield.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it, to be honest. Hopefully that team they're outscoring is Red Bull. Even though that would not really work well for my predictions, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see.
I would not like that.
I think it'd be cool. Well,
I'm cool if McLaren does really shitty, and it's actually McLaren who they beat.
That's okay. Well, given that everybody predicted a McLaren win, and you included predict a McLaren win too,
just saying.
You're not counting on it. I'm not counting on it.
I mean, I didn't put money on it, but I just wish.
Yeah, dang. Well, I'm gonna have to pull out a backup out of the bag because J9, I think you're on the right path. I think Baku's walls could be up on the podium. To be honest, it's a tough circuit. But let's go 2 rookies in the top 8. That's happened in only 4 of 16 races so far this season. And if we look at last season, I don't even know how many times that actually happened then. Of course, we've had
Weren't there 0
Hadjar.
rookies last year?
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean,
there you
Liam
go.
Lawson, I don't know if he's
I
still
guess,
counted.
yeah, maybe he would count.
But actually, to that point, Franco Colapinto got his first points, I believe, in Formula One with like a P8 finish, I believe. Don't fact check me. It was around P8. It might have been P9. But he outscored Alex Albon, if I remember correctly, to his first points in Formula One, then racing for Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, yeah, I know Hadjar and Antonelli have both gotten on podium this year and had some other finishes. It's only the two of them that have ever done it when there's been 2 rookies in the top 8 this season. So I know it's 4 out of 16 races it's happened, but I still think that that's pretty good odds, especially at a circuit like this. So let's go for it.
Well, we are all predicting chaos, hopefully for the neutral, for the F1 fan, as the season keeps winding down. Hopefully we get all of the action on track, all of the excitement. What might be a little less exciting for some of you is that Azerbaijan is a little further east in the world, which means the start times are even earlier, unfortunately. So if you are on the east coast of the United States, like us, qualifying is at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So, hey, don't have to worry about it conflicting with college football. You can get up early, watch it with a nice cup of coffee, and then you got to get up early on Sunday because the Grand Prix kicks off at 7 a.m. on ESPN if you're watching in the United States. Watch it in bed if you want to. I do that sometimes, certainly, but I wouldn't miss this race. I love this track. I love this race. There's been some great races, some great storylines out of here, so you don't want to miss it. Josh is crossing his fingers. Ferrari does well. Charles can maybe break another curse. The rest of us have a lot of our points riding on McLaren to do well here. J9, question in the back.
No, it's really just a statement. We could still make the race for as little as $1,200.
Not as bad as I expected.
That one's really bad, though. We fly Atlanta to JFK. Then we have an hour and 20-minute layover. You hope you make it. Then you go overnight to, I don't even know where that is. Doha?
Oh,
Doha,
yeah.
Qatar.
They have a big airport.
And then Doha to Azerbaijan.
We got to get a direct flight.
Simple, easy.
The total travel is 20 and a half hours.
Not bad.
Heck yeah,
it could
that's
be a lot
easy.
worse. I was thinking it would be a lot worse. And, if you want one stop, that's $1,800. So I'm just saying we could make it.
Maybe we got to do a little more planning for next year's edition. I just saw an article
if there's any
on
private
F1.
jet companies that want to advertise with us,
Amalfi Jets.
take
we
payment.
are open to sponsorships.
Amalfi Jets, This is calling.
We're open.
Yeah.
I did see an article on Formula1.com. Some dude is managing to go to every race this year under a budget of $20K for all travel, all races. He's based in the
points
for the whole
race?
season. No, so he's
Plus
based
points?
in the UK. He's based in the UK, so I assume there's a lot of much cheaper train options to get a lot of the European summer.
He's definitely flying Ryanair for sure.
He might be checking himself in a suitcase. I do not know. But I want to know his secrets so that the 4 of us can maybe hop over to Baku sometime soon.
Damn, he's making it to Singapore and...
Yeah, he's flying
that's
freight.
That's crazy.
Flying freight, I guess. But even if we're not going to make it to this year's edition, we are going to be watching the race. You know it. You love it. We will be back right after the race as well to break it all down, see if our chaotic predictions came true, if it lives up to its hype. Hopefully it does. But regardless, we will be here right after it for you. So until then, everybody, stay speedy. Goodbye.